All right, 954. Thank you for being so patient and calling back. What's going on?
Not much. Do you hear me?
Yep, I can.
Okay, cool. Okay, I have a hand. I'm basically just curious how you would play it, see if you would try to steal. It's kind of awkward, but basically I have this is 5-5 at Commerce.
Okay.
I'm sitting with 750, and I just table changed, or it was a broken game, so I
Okay.
keep my whole stack. It's the first hand. I'm under the gun, and I raise to 20 with pocket fives, two black fives.
Okay.
Folds around to the button, who calls, small blind folds, and then big blind 3-bets to 80.
Does he have you
covers
covered?
me.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think I guess it's kind of close, but the button had already counted out the $80, so I figured I know that he's not going to, like, 4-bet or anything weird, so I call, and then the button calls.
So
Cool
you
so
call and
far?
the button calls, right? Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How often do you play the 5-5 game there?
I started playing it a lot because I don't have, like, a huge bankroll, and so whenever I play 5-5, I don't buy in for 1K if I play at Hustler or the Bike.
Yeah.
So it's actually a good game because of the cap, and there's no straddle, so I'm not forced to play super shallow because people can only blind raise. So it's kind of like a nice game for a restricted bankroll.
Well, I mean, the reason why I ask is because I don't know how profitable it is to open pocket fives in that game to 20 from under the gun.
Okay.
There's always different ways of looking at it. I know different people have different views of, like, oh, some other training sites say, oh, never limp. I disagree with that. If you've listened to my stuff, I like over limping a lot. I also like limping up front. I mean, in 5-10, I don't limp with small pocket pairs. In tough games, sometimes I actually fold them, but it's just tough to barrel through in that game, I feel like, a lot of the time. And also, too, I haven't really seen a ton of preflop aggression where if you limp, you might actually get a cascade of limps behind you.
Yeah.
Is it your default that you always raise pocket fives from under the gun?
Yeah.
So you're raising any pocket pair in that game full ring?
Yeah, for the most part, because I don't get 3-bet so much, and I mean, I might fold, like, deuces through fours, but I mean, pocket fives is definitely at the bottom. But it really depends on the table. Like, if people are playing really aggressive, then I might just throw it away.
But I just, I don't know. I understand but the thing is that, like, I understand that you don't get 3-bet that much, but if you're opening and you're getting 3 or 4 calls, it's just a situation where you're not going to be able to barrel these guys off of hands all that much at that level. You know what I'm saying? And then it's kind of a hot, cold equity thing. If you raise a pocket pair from up front and then you don't flop a set, your equity is 0. It's not like raising with high cards where you can improve, right? But
yeah.
Anyway, so you call and the pot's 240, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So wait, are you saying that you would rather limp, like, call a raise here, or just throw it away?
I would rather limp. And then you can decide whether to call a raise or not based upon people's stack sizes, based upon what opponent raised and what happens. It's not always a limp call. You could limp fold, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. So that's the action. Yeah. So 240 in the pot.
Yep.
Flop comes queen 9-8, all diamonds.
Queen 9-8, all diamonds. Okay.
So the big blind, the 3-better, checks. He just looks weak. He looks weak. He checks. I check, and then the button checks behind.
Okay.
Turn is the ace of spades, so doesn't bring much except for the ace.
Yep.
And the big blind checks again.
Okay.
It was kind of a weird spot. I just didn't think he had an ace here.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I thought about firing, like, pretty big, and I just didn't. So I checked, and then the button checks behind.
So it gets checked through again. I mean, one thing there too. One thing I would say about that too on the turn is, if this guy's not playing overly aggressive out of the big blind, like what do let's say that his three betting range out of the big blind against a UTG Open is queens, kings, aces, and ace king. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I think that kings doesn't check that board that much. I mean, I guess it's possible. Same thing with queens. And I guess what I'm saying is the urge to come out and stab at it, unless he's raising with pocket jacks, I think that he might check an ace here on the turn. I just don't know how often he has a hand that he's going to check fold now on the turn because of his propensity to bet pocket kings on the flop.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Totally.
Yeah. Okay. So it gets checked through again.
Check through again.
Yep.
And then river is a queen, pairs the queen.
River pairs the queen. Okay.
It's a club.
Mm-hmm.
And so the big blind bets out 75. Super tiny.
So now the big blind bets out 75.
And I didn't know what to do. I was just trying to think if I should fight for it, and I guess went through my mind is if I'm going to play pocket fives, then I need to kind of, if I see a spot, try to take it to win the pot. I just felt like it was weak, so I raised to 225.
Let me ask you a question. What do you think he has on the river?
The tiny bet was super weird. So I didn't know if he was doing something strange, like either maybe three betting with like a small suited ace, or if he had jacks or tens and just went check check, and then, or if, I mean that was really it. I thought maybe I can get him to fold the ace with the queen pairing. He obviously doesn't have a queen, or it really doesn't look like he has a queen.
Well, I mean, jacks or tens at this level, I think that's just not accurate. A guy is not going to bet jacks or tens in a 3-bet pot as third pair for value on a monotone board after it rolls off ace-queen into two people. So I think that we can totally dismiss that. The thing that I was interested in is what ace-x, okay? Or even like ace-king. The thing that I will say is that if a guy has an ace here and he chooses to check the turn, let's say, all right, he checks the flop, gets checked through, turns an ace, and now he checks the turn, he's the type of player, because I think that players fall into patterns, he's the type of player, if he's checking the turn, that he's not going to bet the river now that a queen comes out. I don't think. So I don't think he has an ace here either. So, we talked about what is his range of 3-betting. I mean, who knows how wide he is to 3-bet here, but if he's leading for 75 here after this action, I would just fold. I wouldn't raise. I don't expect him to fold anything. I think he's probably rather strong. Who knows? Maybe he's got 2 black aces or something like that. Or I guess he can't have 2 black aces, but or he flopped the flush. He's got ace-x of diamonds, like he flopped the nuts. I would just muck this hand.
Yeah. Okay.
So what ended up happening?
Button fold, big blind tanks for a very long time, and then he calls with ace king.
Yeah. Okay. So you raised it to 225, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, I guess you're saying you would just let it go anyway, but I was thinking maybe if I raised it to like 275 or 300, he would fold, but then it's just such a big risk to win that pot.
Yeah, I mean, if the bottom part of his value betting range is ace-king there, okay, and he's value betting ace-king plus, I'm not going to raise the river because, like, it didn't even work with ace-king. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think, again, this goes back to, like, why we can value bet thinly on scary boards and why we do certain things, because it's not like our opponents are necessarily hand reading in the way that we are, but they wouldn't really have seen anybody just raise a queen here in this spot So he doesn't think that you just have a queen. It's also very difficult for you to have a queen unless it's ace queen here, right? You see what I'm saying? Which is going to bet the turn.
Yeah.
So the whole thing doesn't make a whole lot of sense, you know?
Yeah. So wait. So sorry. Just real quick.
Mhm.
The other thing I was thinking was maybe possible is that he had like Jack 10 suited or like a small suited connector, like 6-7 suited, and then I was thinking that maybe the button just kind of looked like he had like a pocket pair as well,
Mhm.
and was just trying to get to showdown. So I was thinking maybe if I raise here, the button's going to fold, and then if this guy is just, you know, kind of trying to stab at, see if he can take it down, he's going to fold as well. But you just think that level? I mean, I don't know. I see people 3-bet suited connectors a fair
Yeah, but
amount.
if you have a suited connector though, like if that's the case, why do you need to raise? The guy behind you can't overcall you, right? If he doesn't have at least an ace. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean, you're just risking more money and hoping that he has a suited connector. If you think your hand is good there, then you can call because the call acts the same way as a raise. If the raise is trying to get the guy out behind you, that guy behind you is not going to overcall. Do you see what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. That's
So,
true.
okay,
Okay,
all right, cool.
cool.
Thanks for
Thank
the
you.
call.